county officials. Janelle Robinson, of course, is a Franklin Township daughter.
Lovely surrogate Tina Jallo of Somerset County. Let's give her a round of applause. I am Commissioner Director Janelle Robinson. I am your MC for today's event. It is an honor and pleasure. This is our second annual parade and festivities celebrating Juneteenth. At this time, I'm going to bring to the mic, but before I do that, let's give it up for Mr. Wesley Cherry on the ones and twos. Let's give it up for our stage sponsor, CME. And let's give it up for Nigerian float-sponsors, Sierra Leone community. The Democrats had us float, and we will have a day of festivities and entertainment. There's face painting. We want to give a shout out to our Somerset County Sheriff's Department, our clerk's office, our surrogate's office, and so much more. There's ponies, you have the crazy riders, you have face painting, and we have something to eat. The Somerset County Democratic Black Caucus is here, African dancers, vocal performances, and so much more. So stay tuned, stand by, and stay for the day. At this time, I want to introduce to some and present to others, none other than Mr. Reverend Dante Quick, the pastor of First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens. Give him a round of applause. He's been here serving the community for 2 years. So we took him from the West Coast, now he's on the East Coast, and he's stirring up quite a stir and bringing the word, bringing the spirit, and bringing back an old-time religion. Let's give it up for Pastor Dante Quick.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're celebrating Juneteenth, but I think it's important that we understand the history that's behind this date. Freedom is never free. Freedom is connected to information. And for a long time after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, people were still held in bondage. I would suggest to you today that even as we stand here, many of us are still held in bondage. Amongst our youth, depression and suicide is at record levels. In the news, an Olympic athlete died in childbirth. Black women are still suffering at higher rates than their counterparts of breast cancer, infant mortality. We've got to redefine freedom, because as long as you only think you are free and you're not earning the same wages as your counterparts, we still need a new Emancipation Proclamation. And so today, as we come, just like our enslaved ancestors in Texas waited for freedom, here in America, where we still have 2 criminal justice systems, where we have 1 criminal that didn't even get a mugshot, we're still not free. And so today, as we come to have a good time, let's register to vote. Let's make New Jersey an example of what freedom looks like. Let's protect women's health. Let's make sure that our young people are getting a superior education. Because the new framework of freedom is mental health. And so now we have to go out and fight for the freedom of our minds. If we learn nothing else from the fictitious Willie Lynch, what we've learned is that enslavement was much more than the bondage of the body. Enslavement was the bondage of the mind. And if they could make you think you were a slave, they could take the shackles off your hands and your feet and you still wouldn't run away. We've got to break slave mentalities and recognize that if one person's not free, nobody's free. So as people of color, we've got to advocate for people who may not look like us. We've got to go down and grab our Latino brothers and sisters. We've got to advocate for LGBTQIA people, because if any group is subjugated, we are all subjugated. So today, let's make a new emancipatory proclamation that freedom starts in the mind, that we've got to start freedom in our schools, that we've got to get rid of teachers who don't want to see our children free. We've got to have law enforcement that's free, and we've got to elect free people. Thank you all very much for having me. Have a great day. Happy Juneteenth. Let's go out and live free lives.
All right, let's give Pastor Quick another round of applause. You've been fed with some education and information. You have food to feed your body, and we're going to continue on with the celebration. I also want to give a shout out for voter registration to Nu Xi Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated and Central Jersey Delta Sigma Theta Alumni Chapter Incorporated. They're here to support doing their civic duty. Thank you so much for the continued support. At this time, I'm going to introduce none other than Somerset County Chairwoman Peg Schaefer, but also she's the state vice chair of the Democratic Party. Let's give it up for Peg Schaefer.
I think Chanel's mad at me, make me follow the Reverend. So, welcome to Juneteenth. It's so exciting, as usual, for me to be here in Franklin Township and to see this beautiful mosaic that is Somerset County. And I know we're here, there's a lot of things we're doing today. We're celebrating, we're educating, and we're agitating. And we've already heard the agitation and the education. I'm here to talk about how your celebration and your participation is what makes Somerset County the county that it is. Because of the Black Caucus, because of Franklin Township, because of people of color generally, and because of the talent that we now have that might not have been found in this country had it not been for the Emancipation Proclamation and the ultimate continuation through Texas, we wouldn't have Commissioner Director Chanel Robinson. And we wouldn't have surrogate Tina Jallo. And we wouldn't have your council person, Kimberly Francois. And we wouldn't have Ron Jordan leading the Franklin Democrats. So it's important. Get up, get out, participate, make sure that you show up at the polling places and continue to make a statement about the world you want to live in. The world you want to live in is not the world that Donald Trump wants us to live in. I like to say those words, it makes me sick to my stomach. They've elevated crazy to a brand new level. We also, by the way, without the participation, that's exactly right. But you know, we have Chris Christie for comic relief. Chris Christie's going to have a lot of fun beating up. Also, without a enforceable Emancipation Proclamation, you wouldn't have representing you the best Congresswoman in the United States of America. I could spend about 10 minutes extolling her accomplishments and her virtues, but you know most of them. She's the first of a whole bunch of things, but what she really is more than anything else is an amazing representative. I travel the country a lot as vice chair of the state party, and everybody knows Bonnie Watson Coleman and knows that she's a champion of women's health. She's a champion of the rights to the re-entry programs to prevent recidivism. She's a champion for the underrepresented, the oppressed. She's a champion for all of us. But in my world, the fifth-term Congresswoman, her greatest claim to fame is that she's my friend. And it's my pleasure to introduce Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman.
Peg always tells the truth. I am her friend. And you got to know who your friend is in this world. And I got lots of friends here in Franklin Township and in Somerset County, and it is like a blessing to be able to represent you in Washington, D.C. So I was real nice to the pastor. I knew he had to go somewhere, and I said, let the pastor go first because he's going to bless us. I looked at him when he came back, I went, that's never happening again. That is never happening again. So you know what? I thank God for this blessing. I thank God for everybody that is represented and every family that is represented and every individual that thought it not robbery to come out here and share with us today. I don't call this day a celebration. I call it a commemoration, a recognition. Because when you think of what Juneteenth represents, it represents the correction of freedom delayed. And we must always remember that freedom delayed is a denial to freedom everywhere. And so we're now in this environment that does not want us to teach history as it should be, including our inclusion in the greatness of this country. They don't want us to be free women to make determinations about what's best for us and our bodies. They don't care about poor people trying to access medicine or health care. There's no reason that an Olympian in the United States of America should die from complications of pregnancy because she's a black woman and the system hasn't dealt with her correctly. We should not continue to allow people to use phrases like awoke versus asleep. Awoke is a problem. Critical race theory is a threat. We should not allow people who don't represent the goodness and the righteousness of every human being to be elected to office to anything, from dog catcher to President of the United States of America. And we need to understand the intersection between a democracy, a functioning democracy, and freedom. Without democracy, you don't have freedom. Without participation, you don't have democracy. It is our responsibility. We show up. Black folks, we show up all the time. And our allies show up all the time. We need to build out our conversations with our allies and with our families and with our young folks, because we need them to show up, cast your vote, love your neighbor, protect your mama, be respectful of your father, and most of all, make sure that your community has all of the resources that it needs for you to live safely and comfortably. That's a dream that we can realize, but we cannot let up not one iota on making sure that everybody does what he and she is obligated to do. And the first thing that one is obligated to do is to stand up for somebody who can't stand, is to speak for somebody who can't speak, is to get out there and work for somebody who can't work, and is to make sure that government does the job that it is intended to do, and that it is an assurance for all of us that no family lives below a certain floor. This is America, and we reject every and anything that is un-American. God bless you. Have a great day. The sun is shining, and the Lord is smiling.
Let's give it up for my shero, our champion in Congress, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman. Now, I would like to introduce a couple of people. They're not coming to the stage, but I want them to come up front, center, and wave. I have my counterpart, Commissioner Melanie Morano, our Sheriff, Darren Russo, Franklin's Finest is represented here. Is Q, is she here? Yes. Okay, there she is. Q Cuvella Mayweather, representing Franklin PD, Franklin's Finest. And now coming to the stage is our very own Legislative District 17 representative, straight out of Franklin, Franklin warrior for life, born and raised, an Army veteran, a father, okay, and a pizza maker. What else do you do, Joe? That's all I'm allowed to say. No. Our very own Assemblyman Joseph Danielson. But before he speaks, we have our very own Steve Peter, the man with two names, representing Somerset County Clerk's Office, who certifies the votes. You need to register to vote. Make sure you stop by his tent because he is a representative for all of us who are exercising our right to vote. Please give it up again for our clerk, Steve Peter.
Hello, Franklin. My name is Joe Danielson. It's an honor to represent you in Trenton. Unfortunately today, our mayor, Phil Kramer, cannot be with us. He's very, very ill, and I'd ask that you all give him your prayers for a fast and speedy recovery. In respect to Mayor Phil Kramer, he did send me an email. I'd like to read it instead of me having words on the stage today. So from Mayor Phil Kramer, today on Juneteenth, we come together as a diverse community to celebrate the progress we have made while acknowledging the journey that still lies ahead of us. Juneteenth represents a significant moment in our nation's history when the last enslaved individuals were finally granted their freedom on June 19, 1865. It serves as a reminder of the resilience and the strength of African Americans in their fight against injustice and equality. While we celebrate our achievements, we must also recognize the challenges that persist. The journey towards true equality is ongoing, and we must confront systemic racism, discrimination, and ensure equal rights and opportunities for everyone. As the mayor of this township, I stand united with you in our commitment to create an inclusive and equitable society. We will work to address barriers and create the environment where every resident can thrive. Juneteenth reminds us of what is possible even in the face of adversity. Let us come together, listen, learn, and support one another in our collective pursuit of justice and equality. Today, as we commemorate Juneteenth, let us honor the progress we have made and renew our dedication to continue the march towards equality. Together, we can create a brighter future. Thank you, and may this Juneteenth be a catalyst for progress in our ongoing journey towards justice and equality, and he is also always at your service. Okay, I would also like to recognize a fantastic team that I've worked with for many years, our Franklin Township Council members. We have Councilman Jim Vassanella, Councilman Carl Wright, soon to be Councilman Alex Karazi, Councilman Charles Onyejaka, and Sheepa Dean. Our at-large candidates, and let me emphasize, our at-large candidates are up for election this year. We have former Mayor, at-large candidate Kimberly Francois, Ram Barrison, there he is. We have Crystal Pruitt is in the audience. This is her last year. And of course, Mayor Phil Kramer, who's ill, and you're going to pray for him. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to bring to the stage Commissioners Paul Drake and Deputy Commissioner Doug Singletary. Let's give it up. Come on, we can do better than that. They represent us at the county. They're my teammates. Make sure you exercise your right to vote. I can't tell you who to vote for, but I can tell you.
Well, Franklin,
who's on
we're
the
going to
ballot.
wrap it up for the moment.
But give
We
it
are
up for Commissioner Paul Drake
just so
and
grateful
Deputy
for
Director
the crowd that has
Commissioner
been here today
Doug Singleton.
in celebration for Juneteenth.
How's everybody doing in Franklin?
The celebration of freedom.
Beautiful day.
And we are
Brought the weather.
so happy to be a part of this.
Bring the spirit,
We're here
right?
at Naaman Williams Park.
What a
The
great
celebration
day.
and commemoration
I
will be
myself
going on
am
all
learning a
day.
lot more about
Please
Juneteenth.
take the time
But what I
to
also
celebrate this
just heard
very
from
important,
Congressman Bonnie
federally
Washington, who's also
recognized
my
holiday
congresswoman,
about the
I
freedom
live in
from
Hillsborough.
slavery.
And is that
This is
Juneteenth
PJ Parker,
is
Franklin
really a
reporter and
delayed
advocate, and
celebration
pray that it
for
doesn't
delayed
rain
emancipation
and that my iPad still works.
ultimately recognized that
We'll
it
be
wasn't
back.
until